Shalom. First and foremost, like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakarkadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is three news articles that I'm about to bring out in relates to wars and rumors of wars. And this is the first news article from the New York Post. It says Russian forces intensify attacks in Luhansk ahead of anticipated offense. It says Russian forces step up shellings and attacks in eastern Ukraine Wednesday before an anticipating new offense. But Ukraine forces said troops were still holding firm. Luhansk Governor Shuri Hade said enemy soldiers were trying to capture the city in Crimea, a nearby village of Belhorivka. And it says we are repulsing that all that attempts to break through. And Hede said in a televised remark, the enemy is having no success. It says, Slovakia. It says the Russia installed leader of the so-called Luhansk People Republic described the situation around Crimea a very difficult because Ukraine was bringing in more troops and preparation for a counterattack, reported the Wall Street Journal. Meanwhile, Ukraine Air Force spokesperson called for more missiles to help push back the Russian forces. The enemy is advancing in the east, and some places have success in accelerating forces. In that warn, we need to get ready. It says fighting also continues raging in the key city of Bakhmut in the Donetsk region, which Moscow forces and mercenaries from the Wagner Group has been trying to take for months. The Russian state media outlet, the RIA Novosti, reported, citing local military commanders, that Russian troops had seized control of several states when Bakhmut. During a press conference Tuesday, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, if I pronounce his name right, touted the military ported advance near Bakhmut and Velheder. Russia is said to be beefing up its forces ahead of what could be a large-scale offense involving up to 500,000 conscripts. It says Kremlin is expected to make its move in the coming weeks to coincide with the first anniversary of the invasions on February 24th. It's another news article I'm about to bring out. Let's see. And this second news article is as of February 8th, 2023, from Home Russia and FSU Alternative World News, and it reads, Russia warns of direct clash with U.S. It says Washington is seeking a deterrence advantage, which could cause a outright war, Moscow has warned. The U.S. has unleashed a total hybrid war, is putting two nuclear nations on a path to direct confrontation. Russian foreign minister has said Moscow claims Washington demands for nuclear inspections in Russia are cynical and noted its obvious assisting in Ukraine attacks on Moscow strategic nuclear force. The allegations was part of the ministry's public comments on the status of the New START Treaty, the last remaining U.S.-Russian agreement on nuclear weapons reduction. According to the U.S. media, the Department of State notified the Congress last week that Russia was in a non-compliant due to the refusal to facilitate inspections on its soil. The Russian foreign minister said that was not true, since the treaty allows suspension of inspection. Washington was the first to block Russian monitors for doing their job in the U.S. It is allegedly, the minister said, that created obvious unilateral benefits for the U.S. and prompting a response in kind from Moscow. So that's another rumor of war, and this was recently right here. It says North Korea displays enough ICBMs to overwhelm U.S. and defense system against them. Right, that was the same thing, similar with it's all right, right? Donkey Kong style. Salakia about that. Let's talk to him, brother. But what I meant to say was, I believe it was a news story came out. Either it was yesterday or day before yesterday. China said that they had more ICBM missiles more than United States. So that Joel 3 and 10 is definitely coming in full effect. Let the weak say I'm strong. So these nations are starting to have more capable nuclear power, more than the United States. As you see, this article right here says North Korea displays enough ICBMs to overwhelm U.S. defense system against them, right? Because you already have the tension stirring up between the alliance from the United States, Japan, and South Korea versus North Korea. And then I said about 2 or 3 days ago, North Korea made a statement saying they are getting prepared for war. So that's when that Joel 3 and 9 comes in full effect as well too. It says North Korea displays enough ICBMs to overwhelm U.S. defense system against them. Is political by Alexander Ward as of yesterday, 10:14 p.m. And it says North Korea has just revealed a large enough number of missiles to convincingly overwhelm the United States defense against them, blowing a hole in the decades of denuclearization and homeland security policies. And it says a image satellite shows a closer view of missile launches at a parade of Kim Jong-un Square in Pyongyang, North Korea, as of February 8th, 2023. It says images from a state-run media shows North Korea military running 10 to 12 Hwasong-17 intercontinental ballistic missiles down the streets of Pyongyang during a Wednesday night parade. The U.S. only has 44 ground-based interceptors to launch from Alaska and California to destroy an incoming ICBM in a flight. Assuming North Korea's weapons can fit 4 warheads atop them, it's possible Pyongyang can fire more warheads at the U.S. than the American has scepters. U.S. officially and experts has long felt it was only a matter of time before North Korea built its way out of the missile defense problem. The Hwasong 17 has a theoretical range to make it all the way to the United States from North Korea, but Pyongyang has yet to demonstrate the warhead's survivability upon re-entry, or that it could hit a direct target from so far away. Regardless, the message from North Korea and its leader Kim Jong-un is clear. Despite repeating efforts, the U.S. can't stop us. It's a defiant display. The both underscore the nation's stunning military advancements, Western failures to get the ruling Kim family to part with its weapons. It's a punch in a hole in a 20 plus years of U.S. homeland missile defense policy, predicted of defending against a limited missile threat from North Korea. That threat is no longer limited, and the United States cannot count on the missile defense to confer anything close. Invulnerability to North Korea retaliations in a conflict. In Carpenter, and a senior fellow at Cruntrix Endowment for International Peace, and author of Kim Jong-un and the Bomb. Critics of the Ground-Based Mid-Course Defense System, or GMD, says it won't take so many North Korean missiles to get past. It might only take one. And it says the testing has been utterly unrealistic, saying James Action, who co-directs Carnegie's nuclear policy program. The GMD has only never been tested at a night once, and it failed. He continued, nothing that's a problem, since the sun makes it easier to track the re-entry vehicles carrying the warhead. It's why experts believe an adversary might launch an ICBM at night. It says President Joe Biden has taken a hands-off approach to North Korea. But that's not Wally by design. North Korea has yet to respond to the administration offers to sit down anywhere, anytime, without preconditions. The goal is to get Pyongyang to talk about any issues in the relationship, but so far, every advance has been rebuffed. In the meantime, the U.S. has grown closer to South Korea and Japan, infuriating North Korea. I meant to say Slovakia. It says Pyongyang has reportedly expressed anger and the resumption and augmentation of the joint U.S. military exercise that North Korea views as a precursor to war, both to improve its arsenal and response to drills. In response to those drills, North Korea launched by far the largest of cruise and ballistic missiles during a one-year period in 2022. That historical rate part led South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol to openly weight having his nation to develop nuclear missiles. It is possible that the problem gets worse, and our country will institute tactical nuclear weapons or build them on our own. He said in January, if that's the case, we can have our own nuclear weapons and pretty quickly, given our scientific and technology capability. The problem may only get worse. The North Korea also showcased a series of vehicles carrying a solid fuel missile containers, representing their efforts to develop a land-based solid fuel ICBMs. Those weapons don't need to spend time fueling up before launch. They essentially come preloaded Shortening the times Pyongyang has to rush them out for a launch before an adversary shoots them down on the ground. However, analysts didn't get to look at the real thing. Then they said the container on the knife wheel cascades. It's likely to mock up, but this year version even bigger than the previous iterations, showing North Korea is moving closer and closer to the goal of filling a Operation Solid Fuel ICBM. So I'm going to read the rest of all of that and bring out the scriptures. Matter of fact, I believe it was one more article. Oh, okay, here go the article right here. Yeah, I wanted to bring out another article. I know I said I was going to bring out 2 or 3 articles, but the spirit of bring out another one. So this is a news article from CNN.com. This is published by Haley Briskley of CNN as of February 7, 2023. And it reads, China has more ICBM launchers than U.S. senior general tells lawmakers. It says a senior American military officer noted lawmakers in January that China has more land-based field and mobile intercontinental ballistic missile launches than the U.S. according to a letter sent to Congress. It says the letter from General Anthony Hudson, commander of U.S. Strategic Commander with oversees the U.S. nuclear arsenal that as of October 2022. It says China's inventory of land-based field and mobile ICBM launches exceeds the number of ICBM launches in the United States. It says the letter also say that China does not have more ICBMs or nuclear warheads than the United States. In a joint statement released on Tuesday by the Republican leaders of Congress Armed Forces Committee, says the letter a wake-up call for the United States. It says it's not an understanding to say that China's nuclear modernization program is advancing faster than most believe possible. We have no time to waste in adjusting our nuclear force posture to deteriorate both Russia and China. This will have to mean higher numbers in nuclear and new capabilities, these statements said. The details of the letter was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. Though the U.S. has a larger nuclear arsenal than China's, Beijing's effort to modernize and increase its nuclear capabilities has alarmed lawmakers and garnered the attentions of the U.S. military. The news of the letter comes as tensions between the U.S. and China has increased over a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon the U.S. military shot down over the Atlantic Ocean on Saturday. The balloon resulted in Secretary of State Anthony Blinken posting his anticipated trip to Beijing, calling the balloon present over the continental U.S. a clear violation of U.S. sovereignty and international law. And it says China has maintained the balloon crossing into the U.S. was completely an incident and said on Sunday China reserves the right to make further necessary reaction. The ICBMs are a staple in the United States nuclear triad, which includes nuclear delivery system on land and air air, and sea, according to the Defense Department. They are distributing across 400 hardened underground silos with around 50 silos to keep it warm status. The U.S. arsenal also includes more than a dozen submarine capabilities of launching ballistic missiles and a fleet of nuclear capability bombs. The U.S. stockpile of nuclear warheads far surpassed China. In 2022, the U.S. has more 5,000 total nuclear warheads, with 1,644 of them deployed, according to Federation of American Scientists. China, meanwhile, has China has China meanwhile has recently surpassed 400. And while the defense in stock is significantly in a Pentagon report released in November, said China is building its nuclear stockpile at an increasingly fast pace and could have roughly 1,500 missiles warheads by 2035 if they maintain their pace. It says, we see, I think, a set of capabilities taking shape and new numbers in the terms of what they are looking to pursue that raise some questions about what their intent will be in the longer term. A senior defense official told reporters the first time. So yeah, these wars and rumors of wars definitely heating up. And this is the book of Mark, chapter. This is the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 7. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must need be, but the end shall not be yet. Right, because we're going to see more increasing of wars and rumors of wars. That's why the scripture says the end is not yet, because we're going to continue to see more increasing hostility between the nations and different kingdoms. We're going to continue to see a definitely increasing wars and rumors of wars, and that's what we're seeing in the news, as the news article is being brought out. This is the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 8. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows, right? Because these are the beginning stages of sorrows, and we're living in that. We're living in those times, modern day today, because the nation is going to continually, increasingly rise up against one another. Because that's why it says nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. So, that's definitely what we're seeing, And I'm going to bring out that Ezekiel of a news article that I had brought out as well, too, of a potential clash of Russia and the United States. While you got the current war still going on, the Russia-Ukraine, as Russia called it a special operation. And then the anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine, that's coming up within the next week or two or so, I believe, which is February 24th. It says, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, verse 2, Ezekiel 38 and 2, it reads, Son of man, set thy face against Gog in the land of Magog, and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, right? Because Yahweh Shemel Shai is prophesying against modern day, Gog and Magog. Gog, which is, the modern day Russians, prophesying the land of Magog, But at the same time, Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to put that spirit, that warlike spirit, on these modern, on Russia, to have that warlike ready and war ready rhetoric continually against the United States as tensions continues to soar against Russia versus United States. So the tensions are there, and it's constantly, consistently heating up, between the two nations. It says in verse 3, and say, thus saith the Lord God Yahweh thy power. Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Ezekiel 38:4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth, and all thy armies, horse and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Ezekiel 38:5. Persia, which is the modern day Iranians, Ethiopia, Cushites, and Libya, a North African country, and with them all of them with shields and helmets. Ezekiel 38:6. Turkey, which is Gomer, which is the modern day Turkey. Ezekiel 38:6. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Ezekiel 38:7. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them, right? Because Russia is going to be a guard to them, because you're going to continue, because you're going to see the alliance. You're going to see the alliance with Iran, which is the modern, the Persians, which is the Iranians modern day today. Because that's what they used to call themselves in ancient times, the Persians. Now the Iranians modern day. Because that's why it says, Ezekiel 38:7, Russia is going to be a guard to these nations, definitely with Iran, So that's why we seeing the wars is building up, and definitely Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to put that war ready on these Russians to go against North America and the allies of America, So with that, hopefully this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom.